Where did I go? I went to India. This is with Intrepid, which is a small group travel company. This is not my first time I've been to India. I have been there before, so I was ready for the chaos that India is. How did I get there? I went with Qatar Airways through Doha. So I didn't do that on the return. I flew with Qantas direct from Delhi to Melbourne and then overnighted there back to Christchurch. To get to India you do require a visa, and that is all done online. It's quite painless really. So the Intrepid trip I did was of Rajasthan, and it was 15 days. Basically we went as far as just inside the Pakistan border to Jaipur, which is in the Thar desert area. And then we basically drove back to Udaipur when we flew back to Delhi. So the transport on the trip was in our bus. That was the main way of transport. So it was a 20-seater bus. There was 12 people in the group plus the driver and our guide. So Intrepid have 4 styles of trips. They've got their basics, which is 2-star, sort of more camping. Then they have the original trip, which is 3-star, comfort, which is what I went on, which is 4-star, and then they have the premium trip, which is 4 to 5-star. So there was 12 people in the group. They were from all over the world. With a small group tour like that, the guide will make or break your trip. We had an amazing guide. He'd been with Intrepid for several years. His knowledge was incredible. He was a very friendly guy, just amazing. Really had contacts everywhere that we went. So our trip started in Delhi. I did my own tour in Delhi because it wasn't included in the Intrepid trip. So I got a guide for the day, and we just basically did all the main sites, which was fantastic. When Delhi surprised me actually. It's Old Delhi and New Delhi. Old Delhi is what you think of with the crowds, the markets, narrow streets, carts, cows, everything like that. New Delhi is quite different. It is wide avenues, a lot of greenery, a lot of modern buildings. From Delhi to Agra we went by train. This was our only train journey in the itinerary. We went in first class air conditioned carriages, which was interesting enough because we were sat basically with other people. I was sat across from a lady who decided she'd like to go to sleep in front of me. So her head and her handbag were on my table virtually the whole way of the trip. So our first stop after Delhi was Agra, and of course you go to Agra to see the Taj Mahal. Before we went to the Taj Mahal, we went to the Red Fort in Agra, which is amazing. Next destination we went to was Jaipur. Yep, here we did a street food tour, so it was our first introduction to street food in India. We did it with a rickshaw company called the Pink Ladies, who drove us around in rickshaws. We sampled masala tea, which is served in terracotta cups, which you throw away. The next stop was Mandawa, and it's one of the towns that was on the original Silk Route. It's mainly now full of abandoned havalis, which were old mansions owned by the silk traders. Several are being restored into hotels. Mandawa is quite a neat place just because of the havalis there, but it's also got a castle that we ate at that night and had some amazing Rajasthani food. We then travelled to the town of Bikaner. Some of the hotels that we stayed in on the trip were quite amazing, this one in particular. I think probably the highlight of my trip though was the fort at Jaipur. That town is just incredible. The highlight of it is the fort, which is a living fort, so inside there is still about 2,000 people living there. We were introduced to Jaipur that evening, the first evening we were there, by our guide taking us to a rooftop restaurant which overlooked the city at sunset, and it was just an amazing view. The next stop was the Thar Desert, where we camped for the night. We weren't camping in small tents, these were set up there permanently, permanent restaurant on site. The next stop was Jodhpur. Yes, they do, that is where Jodhpur pants come from. So Jodhpur is mainly known for its big fort on the hill. The drive from Jodhpur to Udaipur was about 8 hours, but we broke this up by visiting a Jain temple in Ranipur. This is an amazing building. It's kind of hidden. You wonder where you're going to actually, sort of in the middle of the forest. Probably we then travelled to my favourite city, which was Udaipur. Just beautiful because of all the lakes that surround this town. To experience it properly, you've got to do a boat ride on the lake, which is what we did in the evening. So Udaipur's at quite a high elevation. It's got some fabulous, I think it's 7 lakes surrounding the town. Went for a cruise on the main lake in the evening, and it's from there that you really do see the best vantage point of the town, where you see the main palace. Also out in the middle of the lake is the Palace Hotel. After the cruise we did convene to a rooftop restaurant which overlooked the lake and had some gorgeous Rajasthani food. Yeah, I think the surprising thing to me was the architecture of the palaces, the forts and the Havelis that we saw. They were just incredibly ornate, and I didn't expect that at all. India's got many different sides to it. The first time I went to India was more up into the Himalaya region, so it's totally different to where I went this time. I went to an area called Sikkim. There you go to a place called Gangtok. It has an incredible elevation, so you go from mountain climate to subtropical in one city. That's how steep that city is. And then compare that to Rajasthan, which a lot of it is desert and incredibly hot. India's got so many sides to it, and I think I'd probably go back again because there's so much more to see.